Good morning. Welcome to Viewpoint, your program of personalities, politicians, and perspectives. It might be well, even though the election's over, to just drop the politicians thing because we want to keep the friends we have. And some folks out there are disappointed. Some folks are elated. So we'll just leave it at that. We have perspectives, and we have personalities with us this morning. And we also have a personality on the road, our road warrior, Route 66 traveler, Mr. Rashid Huda. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Well, we're doing well, Rashid. And have you, you're in the big state of Texas now?
Yes, sir. I am in the big state of Texas, big town, Amarillo, Texas.
Amarillo. That's a big town. Now tell me, where did you put your head down last night?
At my friend Byron Taylor's house.
Oh, well.
I have a friend that I met in Houston through Toastmasters, and he lives here in Amarillo. So we met up, and this morning we're getting ready to go on the road, and Byron's going to walk 15 miles with me.
Oh, my. Yeah. So I hope he doesn't have to walk 15 miles home, so we have somebody pick him up. No,
his dad's going to pick him up after we're done.
Yeah. Where do you expect to lay your head down tonight, sir?
Well, I would reach on the outskirts outside of Amarillo. There's a place called the Cadillac Ranch, where they have 10 old Cadillacs.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Buried in the ground.
Are they buried nose down, or I think I remember reading about that somewhere. So that's the goal. And Byron said something to the effect that he may drive me back home tonight so I can spend the night with him and take me back in the morning. Oh.
So either that or just simply stay there. We haven't quite decided yet.
That's better than showering in the creek. Now,
that's for sure.
Have you had any unusual experiences this week?
Well, no, nothing out of the ordinary. I have been observing a lot of things that I normally don't observe, which I wrote about a little bit.
Yeah, I noted
on
that.
my blog. But other than that, just kind of unusual in the sense of what we don't encounter every day, but not unusual in the context of what I have been experiencing.
Are you going to be able to stay pretty much on schedule? We've got the winter weather coming up here, and you're going to encounter some pretty cold weather, my friend.
That is very, very true. And from what I've been hearing from folks here in Amarillo, the winter is not as bad as it normally is. So I'm hoping that it stays that way throughout the rest of the journey, and I may be able to handle it a little better.
Yes.
Because they said that it's very seldom that it happens that Amarillo hasn't had a freeze before the end of October. Here we are 10th of November, and they haven't had a freeze yet. Last night was 34 degrees, so
how are
they've got this year.
How are you holding up with your sustenance, your food? You take things on the road, but then you try to have one decent meal a place where you go put your head down for the night. How's that working out for you?
It's so far so good. I have every time I go into a major city, I'm able to replenish myself, and did the same thing here in Amarillo. Went out and got a couple of tubs of peanuts and some fake cookies and crackers and sort of things of that nature that keeps me busy on the road and provides enough protein and sugar and stuff. We got some raisins and all that good stuff.
Well, your mother told you to lay off the junk food now.
Well, none of that is junk.
All right.
It's all protein filled, and when you're burning 4,000 calories a day, even the junk will go away. Yeah,
that's exactly right. Rashid, we've got two fine guests from Lincoln College with us again this morning, and we thank you for your time, and we'll look forward to visiting with you next Wednesday if all goes well. And in the meantime, I'll be in touch with you by sometime during the week on our little email messages.
Yes, sir. I appreciate the time and the opportunity. We'll talk next week.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye now. All right, Judith
Bye-bye.
K., why don't we get right into... Oh, kudos. We always try to start Viewpoint with a kudo or two, gentlemen. And I think it'd be just more than appropriate if we put some kudos in for the election workers. They have to report at 5 o'clock in the morning. And with now the new technology of counting ballots and so forth, they get out much earlier, but it wasn't unusual for them to get out at 10, 11 o'clock at night before we got on this new voting technology. So Mrs. Busby here is one of the tried and true volunteers down there, and the pay is so good. What do you get paid for that long day?
$2.98. I don't remember. We got a raise this year.
Did you?
To $3.98, I think. I really can't quote you the figure because I can't remember.
Okay, well, it's a state secret anyway. So
well,
all
it's
right.
Government work.
Yeah, government work. Let's get serious and introduce our guest, Judith K.
You want to see our guest?
Yeah, why don't
we were over at your place Tuesday night, fellas. We went over there to hear Ron Keller
give
a really great presentation on his old friend Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, good.
Yes, and we enjoyed it immensely. Isn't that true, Bill?
That's so.
Yes,
nice job.
I knew it was true. So we just finished talking to Bill's friend, Mr. Huda, and he's an athlete, obviously. He's not 29 anymore, and he's marching across Route 66, clear from Chicago to Los Angeles. And these fellows are coaches at Lincoln College. Matt Vavro is the girls' basketball coach. Were you glad about Title IX? Do you remember Title IX?
Yeah, a little bit.
You know what it said?
Maybe you can give me a refresher.
Girls can play.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it said, in essence. And he's the coach for the girls' basketball.
It took 28 and a half pages for him to say that. That's the lawyers drew that up.
Well, listen, anybody who can write 31 pages for OSHA on ladders got to be pretty verbose, And with him is the swimming coach, Johnathon Jordan. Jonathan, I grew up in Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes.
Yes.
Or some say 11,007. I can't swim a stroke.
That's okay.
I'm afraid of water. Isn't that awful, ridiculous, stupid?
I think a lot of people are. I mean, grew up in Michigan, a lot of people are afraid of water and don't like to swim, so it's not that surprising.
Our daughter stick her in the shower and lock the door till she's done. I mean...
There you go.
So anyway, there you are over there with the girls. And do you find that they can be just as dedicated as the fellows?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think college athletics now for females is a lot more opportunity, in a variety of sports, and I think the girls are competitive, and they're eager to accomplish a lot of things.
We've seen some good kids come through this program too, and the nice part about that is scholarships that are available for them. That without those, they wouldn't have the opportunity to go to a college. And how do you find recruiting, Jonathan?
Recruiting's good. Scholarships always help on the recruiting side.
Oh, sure.
Of things. I do a lot of international recruiting as well as kind of recruiting outside of the state.
How does one do that, sir?
I'm hooked up with the Oceania organization. So
is that an acronym or?
Oceania is the Olympic Federation for the Pacific Island countries and Australia and New Zealand.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You know exactly what she's talking about. I know.
I know their islands.
Recruiting basketball players, ladies or men, they appear on somebody's radar site, and Coach, he's tipped to this one or the other, and he makes a trip, looks at him. The recruiting there is a little bit different than swimming, isn't it? Or is it about the same thing? Go ahead.
I'm going to say it's different. I'm not sure what Coach would say, but I mean, for us, things are very black and white. I mean, you have the times or you don't. So I mean, we make the trips to see the athletes, and we bring athletes in to watch them compete. But a lot of times, it's black or white on paper. We want you or we don't. Where I think basketball is probably more
need position stuff.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Coach. You said what, sir?
In terms of basketball, it's more of necessarily not timing. I mean, it's just a position need. If I have 3 good point guards, I might, there might be another point guard out there that's good that I just don't necessarily need because I've already got an influx of point guards. So I might have to go out and recruit some post players, so it kind of is based on need in terms of.
I thought it was interesting when you told us on the way up how tall your tallest girl is on your team.
Yeah, 6'3". I mean, in my opinion, this is the toughest Division II region in the country for junior college basketball. I mean, there's numerous girls that are 6'3", 6'4", 6'5".
Not unusual.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
well, I thought they played very well the other evening, and that. How did we play?
The Lynx Classic.
Yeah, I was trying to think what. And I noted on the scoreboard we were the guests. What prompted that? I was
just uniform change, so each team can play 2 days in a row, and not have to worry about you play Friday night then Saturday morning, to not have to wash the jerseys overnight.
Oh. Well, that's practical.
Yeah.
I thought practicality wasn't in vogue anymore. I'm glad to hear that there's a last bastion of
Now, how many do you have on your squad, Coach?
15.
15. And it's incumbent upon them to keep their grades up, or they won't be able to dress for the games and so forth.
Yes, sir.
So that's always a big carrot, keeping those youngsters. They want to play, they want to be a part of your group, so they dig down and get their academics out of the way. And that hasn't been a problem with you, has it?
No, it is not. No.
That's a great thing for these youngsters to have that carrot out in front of them. I thought they played very, very well. I have to go to more of the ladies' games. So. Your background was your academic background is where, Coach?
I got my bachelor's degree in sports management from Cleveland State University, and then I got my master's from the University of Akron in sports science and coaching.
Would it be fair to ask each of you to tell a little bit about your backgrounds, how you came up to this level of coaching? You want to start?
Sure. Well, basketball's been a part of it. I fell in love with the game of basketball since I was a kid, 5 years old, in my backyard shooting baskets for 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
Until my grandmother came out and said, "It's dark, you can't see, you better get your butt inside." So I've been around the game of basketball all my life. I played high school, played a year of Division II basketball, and then as far as on the coaching, I mean, I've coached boys, girls, adults, kids, high school, AAU, college, guys, girls. After I got my degree, I was an assistant for a very good guys program in Michigan, Glen Oaks Community College, and then after that I got the head coaching job at Danville Area Community College on the women's side. I spent 2 years there, had a lot of success, and then the job opened up here, and here I am.
What is your record this year?
We are 3 games in. We're 1-2. Definitely could easily be 2-1 or 3-0. We lost 2 tight ones. We lost 1 game right at the buzzer. And then on Friday night we played a nationally ranked team at our place. It was a 2-point game with 2 minutes left. We lost at the end.
Well, doesn't it take a little minute to get some cohesiveness with the people, because they come from different places and different teaching skills, and so they have to all learn to play by your rules together. I should think it would take a lot of practices and a few games to get it all together.
Most definitely. Team chemistry it's a process.
Yeah.
Especially, for freshmen that are coming, it's their first time playing college basketball, and girls are bigger, faster, stronger, and there's an adjustment period for these kids to get used to it.
Sure. Excellent.
We find that we alluded to the academics just a minute ago. I had a grandson that was a doggone good basketball high school. But bookwork, another story. He did okay, but it certainly was not a real student. He wanted to know if he could come to Lincoln College and just play basketball. And I said, no, we have something on campus that's called academics, going to class. So that didn't work out very well.
Nice work if you can get it, I guess, right?
He went down south to Midwest Technical Institute down here and decided he was going to become a welder, and that he has done in big time. So he's making a lot more money than many college professors are, just because of his hands-on skills and his training. So there's always a need for that kind of training too. But I had to impress upon him that we did have to go to class. So, so now,
is there a big difference between coaching men's basketball and women's basketball at that college level?
Yes, there is. Men's and women, it's just the guys is a faster style of play in terms of, I mean, if I coach guys or coach girls, I'm still going to have them push the ball, get out in transition, but the guys are just, quicker. I mean, it's just they can get up and down the court quicker, so it's just you have to adjust when you're coaching, and guys and men and women are different, so you have to adjust to that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
How about the aggressiveness level?
Again, girls are going to go out there. They're going to compete just as hard as the guys. It's just the guys are just stronger. They're bigger. So
sure,
that's the difference.
I've seen some of those girls in those courts. They get pretty doggone aggressive.
Oh, absolutely.
How about temperaments?
That's an individual basis that you deal with.
On both sides.
Interesting. Yes.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. But if they've been, these girls that you're dealing with have been probably were just like you. They've been playing basketball since they were 5 too.
Generally, if you're going to play college basketball, you've been playing for a while.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. And so they're probably not out there worried about their fingernails and being temperamental, are they?
Not necessarily.
Not so much?
No, not so much.
Okay, good deal. I'm glad to hear that. Jonathan.
Yes.
I want to hear about who's Jonathan, where'd you come from, and how'd you get to be a swim coach?
Born and raised Holland, Michigan. Grew up on the lake, so water was kind of one of my first loves. Played high school water polo and swimming, water polo and swimming at LBN College for 4 years. Coached the women's team while I was at LBN College as an assistant coach for water polo. Kind of fell in love with coaching. Made the transition to being a college swim coach at the University of South Dakota for 2 years as an assistant coach. From there, went and took the head coaching position at Iowa Lakes Community College. 2 years in a row, both my men and women took second place at nationals. So kind of exciting opportunity there. And then given the opportunity to come here and coach for the Lynx. I definitely love it here. On top of that, I had the opportunity to coach at 3 world championships, produce 6 Olympians. So it's been a good run. Been a real good run.
Now, what's the gender makeup on a swim team?
We're co-ed, so we train men and women. We do compete separately, which is an interesting dynamic, but it's a good balance. My women tend to be a little bit stronger and have a little high pain tolerance, and the men don't want to be beat by the girls, so they push it a little bit harder, and so it's a good dynamic back and forth.
What do they have to do? Sell their manhood if they get beat by the women or something?
We joke about it, but yes.
In essence.
Yes, exactly. We issue them all man cards and we take them back.
Before we swim into our commercials, which we need to do because this is a commercial station, we have to pay for these programs. Do you have, is diving in your program now?
Diving is in our program as well. So we have 3 female divers and 3 male divers this year on the team.
Now, that takes a special technique doing how to the takeoff. Of course, there's springboard diving, and then there's platform diving.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. We tend to recruit gymnasts. Diving is kind of a dying sport at the high school level, just due to the cost of the insurance, the diving boards, and that kind of stuff. So, since gymnastics really isn't a big college sport, that's kind of who we're going after, is the gymnasts, and convert them over to divers once they get here.
Well, we're going to dive into some commercials, and then we'll get right back. And our guest this morning are Matt Vavro. Did I have that right, Matt?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yep. Thank you. All right, and Johnathon Jordan. So go right ahead with your commercial, sir. And we're right back to the studios here live, WLCN, the program Viewpoint, of course. Our guests this morning, two representatives of Lincoln College. We've been trying to, the last 2 weeks, bring on some of the lesser sports, such as wrestling and swimming. And, of course, the two major sports up there are the basketball, ladies and men's basketball team. Our ladies basketball coach is Mr. Matt Vavro, and our swimming coach is Johnathon Jordan. We had football on this campus at one time, boys. My father was on the last team they played in 1919. Last football team. And the picture, I still have the picture. I found it in the archives up there at Lincoln College. So it was a big time school at one time.
That's
and
great.
Now we're going, and it's going to be a lot bigger now. We have great plans on the boards for Lincoln College with our administration, and we have a wonderful faculty. We have a dedicated faculty up there. Now, Matt, have you experienced any unusual incidents as you've been out recruiting?
No, I have not. No, nothing out of the ordinary.
Now,
of your players, who comes from the farthest distance?
Well, when I recruited out from Danville, I recruited out of Indianapolis a lot. So I brought in 5 girls from the Indianapolis area out here. We've got, the vast majority, though, are from Illinois.
The conference that we're at Lincoln College, and what is the name of that conference?
It's a Midwestern Athletic Conference.
Midwestern Athletic
Yes.
Conference. And it encompasses how many schools, sir?
6.
And, of course, the goal is to, at least I assume the goal is to end up over the finals are over Danville. Is that correct?
That's for the guys.
The guys. How about the ladies?
Yeah, the ladies are over in Arkansas this year.
Arkansas?
Yeah, Arkansas.
Is that part of your conference?
Yeah.
That's where the national tournament is. Conference tournament, or excuse me, the regional tournament at the end of the regular season, it rotates alphabetically. So this year, like last year, was at Lincoln.
Yes.
So this coming year, it'll be at Lincoln Land, and the winner of that regional tournament advances to the national tournament.
Mm-hmm. Now, how about traveling? We use college bus to make these long trips.
If it's close, we'll take our school vans. Otherwise, we charter, which is nice.
Yeah, I like going to Arkansas.
Like today, we have a game today. We're about 2.5 hours away, so we'll charter, have shoot around in the afternoon, 12 o'clock, and then get on the road about 1:30, 2 o'clock.
Go ahead, Judith.
I was just going to ask Jonathan, you made mention of, because swimmers are hard to recruit and gymnasts have no place in college, you recruit the gymnasts for the swim team.
For the divers, correct. Yeah, for diving. I mean, there's definitely diving, but a lot of schools tend not to have diving. So gymnasts are kind of somebody we look for our diving side of things.
How does that transition then?
It's a really tough transition at first. I mean, divers tend to control their spinning and flipping a little bit more than what a gymnast does. So the control aspect is definitely something they have to learn over time. The other big issue is going to your head versus your feet. You know, gymnasts are always told never land on your heads for obvious reasons.
Well, yeah, it'd be smart.
Divers who want them on their heads, so that can
if you're smart
tough.
enough to get to college, you ought to know you don't want to bounce on your head.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's not necessarily a given. I've known some that didn't know the difference.
True.
Now, in recruiting swimmers, we alluded to that not long ago, but what's your first step? You have a need for a swimmer in a certain stroke. How do you go about that, sir?
A couple different ways. One is always utilizing our contacts. You know, some of the high school coaches or club coaches that we know really well. We reach out to them at first because that tends they can send us kids. There's also nowadays with the internet and everything, there's always the websites we can go to and start searching for kids that might fit that need and reaching out and contacting those athletes.
You use the term club swimmers. Like in Springfield, Illinois, or Bloomington, they have civic groups that sponsor swimmers or swimmers teams for the community?
We have USA Swimming tends to have a lot of clubs. We have one in Lincoln. There's 3 or 4 in Bloomington, 3 or 4 in Peoria. Springfield has a couple.
Is there any correlation between this swim club in Lincoln and your swimmers at the college?
No, it's completely separate. They still use our pool, they use our facility.
Yeah.
But coaches are separate. All the swimmers are separate. Everything is a separate entity.
You have no truck with them.
We have no. I mean, we talk, but we can't.
You make nice.
Right, but under NJCA rules and stuff, we can't coach. We can't participate in that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Is our pool at Scully Natatorium is that open to the public at given hours, certain hours? It used to be.
We're open Monday through Friday, 11:30 to 1:30.
You've got a 2-hour span there.
2-hour span, correct.
Mm-hmm.
And how does several people in the community use that, sir?
They do. I mean, we have probably our 10 regulars that are there day in and day out.
Is there a fee for that? Do you know?
This year there is not, just because of the pool issues we had. But then normally it's either $2 per time you come or $40 per semester.
You know, even I could afford $2. Of course, I can't swim, so it's a non-issue, right?
Wouldn't do you any good, would it?
You mentioned that you do some recruiting in the Pacific Islands.
We do.
Well, I can see that those people would have access to water.
Right.
You know, that makes sense,
Yep.
right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, but how does that happen? How does that come about? I mean, whatever made you decide you'd go to the islands to recruit these
Just
people?
contacts. You know, they reached out to me, and we formed this relationship and partnership, and it's been going strong ever since.
You need any help going out there?
Sure, you can go out with me.
I could, yeah, all right.
I'll carry your suitcase, by George.
I tend to get out there at least once a year. So.
Do you really?
Now, Matt, what's the furthest recruiting in geography that you would go to, sir?
I'd be open to going pretty much anywhere. I mean, to be honest, I had an international kid at Danville. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, so I'm a strong believer girls basketball in Ohio is very, very strong. But, at this level, a lot of kids, want to stay fairly close to home. So Indianapolis, Illinois area is going to be a key part, in this area because, kids would preferably, a lot of them like to stay within a couple hours, be by their family and their friends. And
Sure.
It's important to girls.
Now, we have a preponderance of students from Chicago area, the greater Chicago area. Is that where most of your basketball players might be from, or are they kind of spread about?
Yeah, spread about suburbs of Illinois, in Indianapolis area.
Do you have I'm delicate about this question here.
You're trying to be politically correct?
Well, no, we don't do that anymore.
I'm sorry.
That now. That's all over. No, girls are temperamentally different from we guys. That's just a given. Do you have? Do you experience any problems like that on the court with girls having temperamental differences?
All coaches do. It's part of being a coach.
Sure.
I don't think people that aren't coaches don't really realize the challenges that you have to deal with different personalities and stuff like that. So, that's why I always say I have the utmost respect for all coaches because of the fact that you have to deal with different personalities. And, you might be able to yell at one kid and they might accept it, learn from it. You might not be able to do that to the next kid and the next kid. You have to adjust as a coach.
Wouldn't that be true on both sides of the gender question?
Sure.
Yeah. For sure.
Some of the boys probably think they're pretty hot stuff, and they don't want you to tell them anything.
Well, you experience that almost on a daily basis, after all.
Daily basis, that would be correct.
Yeah. How about getting the officials for either sport? I'm sure that you have Joe Dokes, who's one of your favorites. You hope to get him on a regular basis. Or how do you go about that? Can you pick and choose?
Basically, we have a gentleman that is the chair of our conference, and we'll kind of have a vote as coaches, kind of like rank coaches who we like the best, like a 1 to 10 type thing, and then at the end for our regional tournament, as coaches we'll vote on the top, however many we want, 5 or 6, and those are the ones that end up being at our regional tournament.
So if Bill and I came to be coaches, officials there, we could be blackballed by the coaches association, couldn't we, as officials? In fact,
I guess if you want to put it that way.
I don't know how else to put it.
that takes. Let's just talk about the officials just a second. You can't just hire Sam Smith off the street and come out, because they have to be really steeped in the knowledge of the game and the rules of the game, and the rules of the game are pretty encompassing.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be certified. There's been some rule changes, with timeouts, and girls basketball just switched to quarters last year. Guys is halves. Now college basketball for women is quarters instead of halves now.
Women's is quarters now?
Quarters.
Okay.
Yeah. Jonathan, tell me about the practice hours for your swim team. Any athletic squad that's worth its tinkers puts in long hours of practice, and about the only difference between swimmers and basketball players is your swimmers are cleaner.
True. We practice quite a bit. Monday through Friday, we go 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. doing dry land and swimming. So dry land's lifting, cross training, running, that kind of stuff. And then every afternoon we go 2:30 to 5, so 2.5 hours every afternoon in the pool. And then Saturdays, if we don't have a competition, we'll go for 4 to 6 hours on top of that.
When people are putting in the kind of time they have to put in training in either sport, I should think it would be pretty difficult to keep your grades up because of the time factor. Do you have the availability of, tutors?
Lincoln College does have tutors. A lot of teams and coaches do study tables where athletes are required to go see a tutor or go to a controlled area to study for a certain amount of time. I find that athletes tend to do a little bit better in school just because they're motivated.
Well, they have to learn to budget their time.
Exactly, and they're scheduled, and they do something the same thing day in, day out. Postseason can be really difficult for swimmers. I don't know about basketball, but they're so used to boom, 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 boom. This is what we're doing, and all of a sudden you give them a little free time, and grades tend to slip a little bit just because they're not on that schedule.
Well, involvement in any college sport, any sport, high school or college, but particularly at the college level, and that teaches folks life skills.
Oh,
we talked about budgeting your time,
exactly,
and planning ahead. You have, as you say, it's older, but a wonderful little swimming area up there, the natatorium. Spectators doesn't accommodate spectators to watch our folks swim, does it?
Our meets are packed. We had a home meet 2 weeks ago. It was standing room only, shoulder to shoulder, around that pool deck, trying to cram people in. So we get a lot of support from athletes. We get a lot of support from our parents. So in general,
parents are going.
Yep, my parents go.
How many people do you have on your diving teams?
We have 6 athletes total on our diving roster. So, and then
that'd be something to watch.
It's fun. It's exciting. It can be nerve-wracking for people who haven't seen diving in person before.
It'd be darn nerve-wracking for me if I were diving, I can tell you that.
Well, Matt, we have lots of room for spectators. Let's put a little commercial in for our basketball teams and that wonderful gymnasium that we have in the Jack Nutt Arena. That, by the way, folks, is in our new building on the north side of the campus there. And we have lots of room. And we'd love to see more adults out there as spectators, both at both levels, the boys and the girls.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely helps having a home crowd and having the support. We appreciate it. So, I mean, I think it's kind of got like a high school feel to it for Lincoln College in terms of the atmosphere for the games. And, I mean, just this past weekend with homecoming and the guys were playing, we were playing, thought we got some pretty solid crowd. So we're looking forward. That really helps.
Sure it does. It makes a big difference.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a beautiful arena. I mean, in my opinion, it's the nicest gym in our entire conference.
I believe you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no question about that. And it's a comfortable gym. I think there are enough chair seats on the east side. Even though those are season ticket holders, there's still plenty of room for the guy who just walks in. And it'd be great to have more people out there.
Absolutely. It definitely helps having all the support we can get.
The kids respond to crowds too.
Yeah, I mean, they feed off the momentum and the cheering from the crowd. Like I said, we have good team support from, Lincoln College Athletics. Teams support each other. That's important.
Jonathan, as you plan your year ahead, what are some of the problems that you might encounter as you're looking ahead for the next swimming season?
For next year?
Yes, like last summer, you were working on this fall. Some of the things you have to do to get your ducks on the pond.
Recruiting is always the big one. Making sure we get the right athlete in. For the next season, who's going to mesh well with the team. Someone who's kind of used to my coaching style. There's a big divide in swimming as far as what kind of coach are you? Are you a more scientific coach like I am, or are you a ground and pound out the yard? So, we're looking for that athlete that can seamlessly transition to, my coaching style. Again, somebody who's going to mesh well with the team, and grades are always important. So, recruiting is definitely always number one. Making sure our facility is ready for the next year. This year our pool was closed until October for maintenance work, so hopefully we're all done with that. We don't have to worry about that this summer.
Coach Vavro, you're recruiting. Do you have any needs? Right now it looks to me like the positions are pretty well filled. I think you got yourself a pretty doggone solid bunch of kids there. From year to year, if you have weaknesses in certain positions, how do you go about filling those?
Well, I always say if a kid can play, I'll find a spot for him. But size is something that we definitely need to try and find, So, I mean, if I can find some 6-footers, going into next season, I'm definitely going to be on the lookout for that because it helps when you have size. I mean, one of our loss this past Friday, rebounding was just crucial. I mean, the other team had a 6'3" girl that ended up getting 24 rebounds, 6 blocks, shots. I mean, it makes a difference when you have size. Like my person playing the 5 position for me is 5'6". The girl's 6'3". I mean, it makes a difference.
Oh gosh, yes.
Did you envision yourself being a girls basketball coach as you were coming along in your younger years?
I knew I wanted to be a basketball coach, but not necessarily men's, women. I just knew basketball's in me, always will be till the day I die.
Well, when you start out at 5, I guess you've been preparing for a long time.
Yeah.
You mentioned something about rule changes. Did the rules change pretty quickly? I'm sure the rules when Cincy was playing are a lot different than the rules now.
Yeah, I mean, there's small change. Like this year they had the charge arc change where there's a arc inside, like right basically in front of the basket, where you have to take a charge. You have to be like outside. It's called like a circle. There's timeout changes. I mean, advancing the ball like in the last minute of the game. If it's a 1-point game with 4 seconds left, you can call timeout and advance the ball to half court. There's just changes that sporadically happen.
Well, and you can't stand up there with your bare naked face and say, gee, I didn't know they'd changed that rule. Does the conference send you notification right away?
We get it from the national office.
Okay.
Yeah, from the NJCAA will send us messages and let us know of the rule changes that are going to occur each year.
And you better read those right off, right?
Right, absolutely.
You coaches get together in the off season as a body of coaches and talk about these things.
We'll have like a region meeting with the teams in our in our region. We'll get together and kind of go over things, vote on things, who the officials should be, that type of stuff.
How about you, Jonathan? Do you have rule changes right along as well?
We do. Always have rule changes every year, it seems like.
And do you get yours in about the same way that Matt does?
We do. Most for swimming. Most of them come from the international level down, and then everybody else adopts them from there. So we're a little bit different than what basketball is. So usually we kind of know what's going on through the voting processes of that kind of stuff.
Now for your officials, do you get to vote on them too?
We actually get to pick our own officials. We don't belong to a conference in swimming and diving.
Okay.
In the world of swimming officials, it's such a small knit group that we tend to pick our
You got
own.
a choice between him and him, huh?
Exactly. And then there's a great group of officials out of Springfield and Bloomington that we go to, but again, they're kind of few and far between.
And again, I suspect they're doing that out of their love for the sport as opposed to any monetary. $150 a game that's not a whole lot.
No.
But some of these cases, they drive quite a ways in some cases. Now, I'm not speaking for the administration, gentlemen, but if you had one wish, what would it be for swimming, sir?
A brand new pool.
That's a big
Did
wish.
I show you about capital investments?
If wishes were horses, even paupers would ride.
Exactly. But if I had one wish, that would truly be my wish.
I got my answer.
Exactly.
Coach?
Man, that's a tough one. One wish. You have to let me sleep on that one.
All right.
Get back to us.
Call me tonight when you think about it. But don't make it after 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I don't want to get myself into trouble.
Yeah. All right. We always try to close Viewpoint with a quote dug up somewhere that's analogous to the subject matter of the day. Joe Montana. Man, coaching is a hard job. Requires a lot of time. I hear stories from coaches who tell me that players call them in the middle of the night, not knowing where they left their cars. Thank you, Matthew and Jonathan. Appreciate your being with us this morning.
Thank you.